Well, y'all came back, so must have not been the worst. So thank y'all for being here this evening. For those who may be tuning in, thank you. But I don't know about you, but I love food. If you know me, you know I will eat a lot of food. My brother knows I will eat a lot of food. My family knows I'll eat a lot of food. My friends know I eat a lot of food. And I made sure to not do this lesson before lunch today because y'all would have wanted me to make a shorter sermon. So I waited till before supper. So I gave y'all an opportunity. But I want y'all to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to picture the best chocolate chip cookie in the world. Your favorite. You know your favorite chocolate chip cookie. And it's got just fresh out of the oven, and you can smell it. And you're sitting there going like, man, I want a cold glass of milk. I want that chocolate chip cookie in my mouth, and as soon as I bite it, I want that chocolate to be melting on my tongue, and I just know that this is terrible for me, but I want 24 more. Now open your eyes. Everyone in here could picture what they were thinking of when I told them, think of that chocolate chip cookie. And if you don't like cookies, well then think of a steak next time. That'll work. But the reason I bring that up is because when you think of things that you like to eat, when you think of particular foods, if you sit there long enough and think about it, your body will start to crave it. And it'll start to salivate. It'll start to desire it. And so my question for you tonight is, who's hungry? The focus of the text we're going to have is in Matthew 5 in the Beatitudes, but it's only one verse that we're focusing on, but other verses are going to be attached to it. But Matthew 5, we're going to verse 6. And it says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied." We've heard the Beatitudes before. There's plenty of blessed are those. But this one I wanted to focus on today because this one to me has always been interesting. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. There's two states here. The state of the person being righteous and the person desiring righteousness. The person themselves who are being righteous individuals and those who desire for righteous living. Those are important things. The word that is used here to describe how they feel about righteousness is a Greek word that is pneia. And that means to hunger. That means the feeling of starvation or strongly desire. And it's a cool word because when we think of that, it's easy to apply it, when you're hungry, what do you want? You think of food. Like if I asked you right now, where do you want to go eat? You have a picture in your mind or what you want to eat. There's things that you crave. And that's how it's talked about here, is you're craving something. Now, I know outside of the image of being hungry for something, everybody in this room has something that they truly enjoy. Like they start talking about it. That's just what they love. They could go on and on and on talking about that thing. And the reason they go on and on and on is because those are the things that they have implemented in their lives. They practice it every day. They know the knowledge about it. They've researched it. They desire it. They want to get better at it. And I just read that and I think about righteousness and I'm like, wow, what does it look like to truly hunger for righteousness? Like, does that mean I'm sitting in my chair and I just can't sit still at the thought of being with Jesus? Does that mean that I just can't picture anything better than desiring to be more like Him? I don't know if anybody in here played sports, but one of my favorite things growing up was playing football. And before every football game, I got excited. I could not wait to get out on the field. There was nothing else on my mind. What I wanted to do was play the sport. I was there for a purpose. I was there to do something. And my whole day before the game, I was thinking about football. The day of the game, I was thinking about football. When I got to the game, all I had on my mind was football. And when the game was over, whether we won or lost, the next thing I was thinking is, all right, I got to get ready for the next game. That's where my mind is at. But then for every person, though, some of those things you grow out of. I can't play football anymore. And those things are things that I got excited about. And as I got older, I realized, man, what am I going to fill that gap with? Like, well, I can find a new hobby or I can find something else. But why don't I get this excited about Jesus? I can tell you there's people that are Cowboys fans, hopefully. But people will get intense over their teams that they follow. They will know every stat. They'll know every player. And they'll get excited at the thought of a new season coming on. But why aren't we getting that excited for Jesus? Why can't we sit on the edge of our seats when we're hearing the good news of Jesus? Yeah, you might have heard it hundreds of times before, but man, it's good news. That didn't change. We may hear that the cross happened and the grave is empty, and that's something that we look at, but why aren't we pumped about that? We have freedom. And that's the cool part, because then there's a promise in that one verse. That one verse that he promises, you will be satisfied. I can't help it when I picture that right there, since food and hunger is something that is associated with this, a picturing of Jesus with the 5,000. They say that he had loaves and fishes, just a few. But with it, he multiplied them and he fed them. And in verse 20, it says, they all ate till they were satisfied. They were filled to what they needed. And guess what? There was more. There was more. Those people couldn't get enough of Jesus' food. And like David Pounds has spoke about before, the woman at the well in John chapter 4, the woman is thirsty. And Jesus is telling her, there is a well that I have, and there is a water that I can give you, that you will never thirst again. And there will be a spring sprouting out from you. That's the thing about Jesus, is you can never get enough of him. You will never stop needing Jesus. And even though you think you have an appetite for him, because eventually you can eat food and still be hungry. You can drink water and still be thirsty. But Jesus fills. And then he's abundantly more. Now, a part of this world, we often see that there are things that we look at, like there's plenty of spiritual junk food. There's a lot of spiritual junk food we've got going on in our lives. We like to plug things in where they don't belong. And I know, like, I'm telling you, diets are not fun. Nobody likes a diet. No one likes, I don't know why people hate broccoli. Broccoli's great. Like, I love a good broccoli, but I'll tell you, most people hate broccoli. But people will love a cookie. People will love a cookie. And yeah, there's some cookies, they're not bad cookies. But 2 dozen cookies, that's a problem. And that's the thing that we like to do, is we like to indulge ourselves with things that not necessarily are bad things, but we like to load ourselves with everything but Jesus. We love our TV shows, we love our video games, we love our work, we love our music, we love our friends, we love everything more than we love Jesus sometimes. And at the end of the day, we got to make a decision. Who are we going to love? Psalm 107, verse 8, has a very powerful thing to say about this. It says, let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love, for his wondrous works to the children of man. For he satisfies the longing soul, and the hungry soul fills with good things. Man, isn't that a great promise? The longing soul is satisfied. But the cool thing is that satisfaction, even though it was filled, that was not the limitation of God's goodness. We can keep enjoying that goodness. And so, my challenge for y'all tonight, it's not a long lesson, and it's not a super, it's nothing super special, but that's something I want to challenge you is, why do we have to have a super special sermon? Why do we have to have super flashy moments of Jesus being profound? Why can't we just enjoy the satisfaction of knowing that Jesus satisfies? He is enough. If you're here this night and you want to give your life to him, if you want to make that known that He is enough. Then I want to challenge you to come up here now as we stand and sing.